Good morning. This is the Uninvited Chef. I'm just here to talk to you about today about just standard cooking that we're gonna do. I'm gonna make a few items and you can watch. Some of the things you're gonna need are, this is a standard chef knife, but in most sets of knives, there's like 6 or 7 of them. You need to find the one that's good for you or the specific knife that you like to use. I actually like to use this boning knife, and it doesn't mean you have to use a chef knife to do things. You can use whatever knife you want. I need a strainer. I actually need a pair of chopsticks. I got my 2 paring knives and I got my boning knife. I have an edge. This one's used for pasta, a wire whip, a smaller wire whip that I use for gravy, another strainer that I can use, like say if I'm gonna cook wonton or dumplings or something, one other small strainer, a spatula, because you don't want anything to go to waste. You want to make sure you scrape everything out of the bowl, use every bit of it. Pair of tongs, and this is a cookie spatula. The reason I use a cookie spatula is some of the pans that I use are really small, and a regular spatula is just way too big for a pan like this. So it's perfect. If you need to flip, you can, no problem. So what people do is they edge a knife like so. Now don't think that you can do that right away, because you have to actually take it slow. Because when I went through cooking school, they teach you to go like this. And you always have to keep your eye on it until you can go faster. But that takes time. That particular knife I've gotten used to over the years. I like to use serrated knives because they never need sharpened. Then you never have to worry about how you have to, if you got to get an edge on it or whatever. So I told you basically in the pair of tongs that you might need, a nice cutting board. I use mostly organic items. You want to make sure that you keep your area clean. Make sure you wash your hands constantly. Make sure they're clean, sanitized. You don't want anyone to get sick. So it's always about safety first. If you're going to use a stove and you're not too sure what temperature you're going to put it on, always start out just medium heat. If you're going to use an oven, use a standard temperature, 350 degrees. Now, there is 2 types of ovens. You have a convection oven and you have a standard oven. A standard oven just uses straight heat. A convection oven uses heat plus air, which normally you take about 50 degrees off. So if you're going to set a temperature of 400 degrees for a convection oven, you set it at 350. And then the air circulates around the food and cooks it more evenly. And there's all kind of new ovens out there nowadays. It's up to you what you want to buy. So I'm going to make a few things now. These are uncooked, original organic flour. I like cooking them because they're fresh. And I'm actually going to use a wok to cook this in. A lot of these items, very easy. I cook a lot of things in the wok. Why? I spent a few years over in China and I learned how to cook Chinese, and I like to use a wok. I even cook burgers or something in a wok sometimes. Now we're gonna make another item. We're gonna make tuna fish and noodles. So I'm gonna cut up this onion, and I'm actually gonna use a boning knife, because to me, a boning knife is so much easier to use. So you have to split the onion down. as you go. You don't want to waste the onion. I've seen chefs where they just take a knife. They take a knife and they go like this, and then they peel it off real fast because they're not worried about waste, you know. But we at home, I mean, the way the cost of things are nowadays, it's ridiculous. So clean the onion real fast. Take the bony knife and actually just cut it in half. So I got 2 halves. I only need that much for the tuna salad, tuna fish salad. So the easy way to do that, remember, you're gonna multitask sometimes. So you gotta understand I have that thing cooking back there, but I have it on low to medium heat, so I have some time to keep an eye on it. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use this, I'm gonna make scrambled eggs, and I'm actually gonna use a pair of tongs for the scrambled eggs. You're gonna see how fast you can cook these scrambled eggs when you're in a hurry. So the onion is pretty simple. I cut it into strips just like this, then I cut it across. And I can cut it very, very thin. Some people have a harder time. You end up getting bigger pieces, depending upon what you're making. If you're making meatloaf, you want to use a machine. Even me, I can make things very, very small. But on meatloaf, you want everything to be really finely chopped, because there, it's going to mix with the meatloaf better, and it's not going to crack. It's not going to, be deformed. So when you're in cooking as many years as I have, using hot pads is minimal. Your hands kind of seem like they feel like they can handle the heat much better. So there's my onions I'm going to use for the tuna fish salad. Now, I have it like this, turn slightly brown, flip it over. In the meantime, what I'm going to do, I'm actually taking my cookie spatula. I'm going to put a little bit of butter in the pan. Let it heat up just a little bit. Take a sip of kombucha, I'm kind of thirsty. This stuff tastes good. Good for your gut. You can buy it just about anywhere. So, I was going to cook a couple of these, so as you see, it bubbles up. See how it bubbles up like that? Nice and brown on both sides. We'll make 2 of those. Then I'll take a couple eggs. You can hear the pan behind me sizzling because it's about ready. I actually take the tongs. Then pour it in the pan like so. And as you can see, I'm taking both spatulas. I'm just whisking this around. I can have these eggs done in less than a minute. And they're done. With a pair of tongs. And I use the same pan that I actually put the eggs in. You want the eggs to be a little soft because actually what you're gonna do with these is you're gonna make a wrap. And this one's done. So, you have 2 of these. I'm gonna put one up here. Very simple. We're gonna take this, take it lengthwise, flatten it down a little bit, take some of the scrambled eggs that I just made. If you want salt, pepper, stuff on your, you can, go ahead. It's fine. I like to use the kosher pink sea salt. And then what I do is I put shredded cheese on it. Not that much, you don't have to kill people with cheese. And then all you do is fold it. And it looks like a little get the other one. Looks like a little egg roll. If you're not going to eat these right away, you can zap them in a microwave, but not for very long. Because based on people's schedule, you know, you want to get everything ready if you're making this stuff for kids. So you fold it over and flip it over, pull it back, and then roll it. So I got 2. These will be eaten right away. While it's still hot, since it's gonna melt the cheese. It'll melt it enough to nobody will even know. The only person that knows is you. Like if you dropped it on the floor and you use the 3-second rule, only you know that. So be right back and we'll go ahead and do the other item we got.